Robbie Mustoe, Tim Howard here in the studio. I'm Rebecca Lowe. Tim, a draw and a defeat for Ruben Amorim. How do you rate that start?
Not great. Not great. My expectation was, having seen what we saw at Old Trafford last weekend against Arsenal, they would come here and not steamroll Fulham. Fulham's a good team, but have their way a bit more than they did. And there were moments I thought that United played well in the game, but overall, there were moments that Fulham played really well too. And you just expect United to control this game, and it didn't happen. It got loose. It was a little bit off the cuff at times. And I'm so used to having watched them during preseason and opening weekend that there is a game plan, that there is a way that Ruben Amorim wants to play. They lost that a little bit today, and so not worrying, but disappointed.
We saw progression last weekend, didn't we, from Manchester United? Did you see any of that today?
No. I thought they started the game okay, first 15, 20 minutes, but the second half was a realisation that two new players in the side is not going to change that much. So to be holding on against Fulham at this point with the money they've spent is disappointing for the United fans. And the fans are brilliant. Man United fans are brilliant. Yeah. They clap them off. But that's not good. Ruben Amorim didn't look happy walking off there. He expects his team, Rebecca, to control more of that second half, to be the team looking to win it. Yeah. And some of the moments, some of the little details that it's easy to look past, so we're not going to look by them in these highlights, shows the weakness in certain areas in the midfield, at right wing-back, that cost them today. So they are desperate. They brought all these attacking players in, a huge amount of money, but there's glaring holes in the middle of midfield where they need two players. Casemiro adds nothing, and he's won more things than I could dream about winning, but he adds nothing to the midfield. Ugarte is meant to be a steel-like guy. He doesn't play Tim. Mainu can play a little bit. Kobbie Mainu, we don't see him. They need central midfield players, or play another guy in there to make three, because they are absent so often.
Let me just touch on that, Bex. So we heard Ruben Amorim talk about, and I think one or two of the players said in preseason, they're finishing their attacks too fast, right? And what that translates to is what he wants his team to do is what City do best, right? They get around the penalty area, they camp out.
Sustain attacks.
Right? But what that points to, and the best teams need two midfielders behind the ball that just take care of everything, that put out fires, that regain possession, that facilitate, that allow those front 4 or 5 players to camp out and get around the box. They don't have that, and so that's where it's missing. So, like, even though he's frustrated that he's not getting these attacks that are sustained and slowed down in and around the penalty area, he doesn't have the midfielders to do it, and he knows that.
Does he just need one new midfielder?
2.
And what kind? Talk of
generals. What I'd say is a general. Not a fancy, clever player, but a player that can do a little bit of everything. Of course, in the past, United have had incredible ones. I had a manager, Brian Robson, played against Roy Keane. Players that could do everything. Could tackle, could pass, could score, could lead, could command, could... Paul Ince was another one that would just rattle everybody. They need help in there. Instead of all those front players that you know...
Quite frankly, the top teams in this league have him. Tonali at Newcastle, right? Is McAllister, Rodri, McAllister at Liverpool, Gravenberch, you know, so I think of all the top teams.
Ugarte was meant to be that person.
He was. And Stephen Warnock correctly said that. He just doesn't have the... He's
not good enough footballer.
He's a bit tough, but he's not a good enough footballer to... But you look at the top teams, the person you're explaining, they have those players exist, and United don't have them.
Just quickly, Rob, if they get those two players, where does Bruno fit in after that?
Well, we've got a little passage in a minute we're going to show where he is playing as a central midfield player, and it shows his weaknesses. I don't know where Bruno's going to play. He's a 10. They've got 2 10s at least. Where's Mason Mount going to play? They've got all these 10s and no 6s and 8s, and by that I mean central midfield generals to be the engine room. OK,
well, let's talk about Bruno. He is our Sensodyne player profile. Before we get to that moment you're referring to, Tim, talk us through what happened with the penalty.
Well, he puts the ball down, and everyone has a routine and a couple steps, and he gets nudged off, actually, by the referee, and he's complaining. He has to then reset to take the penalty. It really put him off. Did he put him off enough to miss? Maybe, but it's a bad penalty in the end, and he just he just wasn't in the right frame of mind. And here, we know Bruno, he's a fiery guy, he likes to complain, likes to moan, but in that moment, I think it might have put him off.
And that was at the beginning of the second half when he was still talking to the referee clearly about it. And now this is Fulham's goal. His role in this, Robbie, was what?
Well, he's a central midfield player here. And this, I love Bruno, by the way. Watch. He's got him. He's your man. Bruno's your man. You've got to stay with him. It's unexcusable. It's unforgivable. Again, I love him, and I don't want to pick out this moment here, but it's so important to show that he is not a central midfield player, a general that will do a bit of everything. And he's just not programmed internally to think about Smith Rowe running in front of him. And if he sees him edge him in there, first off, he's got to be looking at him, which he wasn't really, and he's got to go with that run. He goes with that run, he clears the ball, they probably win the game. So that's what I'm talking about.
OK, but as you said, where does he fit in if they get a couple of midfielders in, which is unlikely considering they've only got 8 days to go, when they've just spent the money on an entire new forward line, Tim?
Yeah, I don't know if he goes or if they get somebody in that position. I think they're going to have to try and find the balance with the players that they have. Is that Kobbie Mainoo? Is it Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno? Is it? They don't have anybody who can sit and hold and break things up and track runners like that. So it's troublesome. It's an area that needs improvement. But everyone's been saying they figured out the front. Now really it's the middle. I think Gary Neville said this morning, it's the middle midfield and the goalkeeper. So
what's more important, midfielder or goalkeeper if they could only get one?
Midfielder right now.
100% midfielder. Yeah.
And who do they go with moving forward, Onana or Bayindir?
Seems like it's Bayindir. That's going to be his choice.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.